Hello, everyone. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com with your morning market outlook for Friday, May 8th, 2026. Well, everybody seems to be in a good mood this morning. Stock index futures are currently trading above fair value, being led higher by the NASDAQ. Commodities are extremely quiet this morning with crude oil down just 6 cents. Brent crude is up slightly this morning. We've got gold trading up $21.40. So, with gold up and crude oil down slightly, that's kind of neutral for the Canadian market. We'll see how that works out in a minute. Now, we do have employment numbers coming out at 8:30 this morning. They could certainly change the direction of the futures in the pre-market, depending on how the market reacts to those numbers. Now, yesterday was a bearish reversal day for the North American markets. The Dow once again tried to break out above 50,000 or 500 on the ETF, and unfortunately could not do that. And so once again, we're looking to see if we can punch out above those big round numbers on Friday. Now, on Friday mornings, I like to print off some weekly charts just to see how the market is doing on a weekly basis, see what's happening with long-term money. The VIX is up slightly this week, so no major change there. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ both moving up, both making new highs this week. The Canadian market, not so much, struggling to just be unchanged right now. Of course, we've seen downward movement in the energy sector and upward movement in the gold and precious metals, and that is kind of neutralizing the Canadian market this week. Now, looking at the GLD, we're up a little tick over 2%, while crude oil has come down nearly 5.5% on the week. So when we convert that over to the stock market, we've got Canadian energy stocks down 3.67%, while Canadian gold stocks are up 5.53%. And those numbers are pretty similar in the US as well. Now, moving back to the daily charts, the VIX for the S&P 500 was down slightly yesterday, looking for a close on Friday above 1869. So far, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Of course, if that doesn't happen on Friday, that upper channel line continues to move lower daily. The VIX for the NASDAQ was down slightly yesterday, while the VIX for the Russell was up slightly. Again, no changes in trend here, so not concerned about that happening on Friday. Let's take a look at some of the major index ETFs and some of the stocks that move those ETFs on Thursday. Starting off with the SPY, it made a new high yesterday before reversing. We're struggling to get up over the 734.38 level. If we can do that, then 750 would come into play. What worked? Well, on both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, we had Datadog was the big winner, followed by Fortnite. What didn't work? Zoetis was the big loser on the day, followed by Tapestry. And Tapestry popped on Wednesday, ended the day on a buy signal. So, of course, you wait till the market closes, you get your signal, you come in Thursday to buy this stock, and you find out that the bid and ask is way down here in the pre-market. So you're going to wave off that buy signal and just wait and sit on your hands. Or if you're still short the stock, congratulations, you should be locking in some profits down here on Friday. And you can see if you follow this back, we tried to fill the open gap yesterday. So that could be the bottom for this stock. We'll just have to wait and see if any buyers come in on Friday. Looking at the NASDAQ 100, we made a new high yesterday. We're still dealing with the 700 level. We traded slightly above it yesterday before pulling back, and above the $700 level is 703.13. That is our next target to the upside for the NASDAQ 100. Now, some of the same stocks worked on both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 yesterday. Then we had Axon was the next big winner. It's back on a buy signal. We saw Zscaler move up yesterday. It's still on a buy signal. What didn't work? Insmed was the big loser on the day, followed by ARM, which is still on a buy signal here. No change in trend there. Then looking at the Dow we looked at earlier had the bearish reversal day. And what worked? Well, you can hardly tell, but Salesforce was the big winner, followed by IBM, followed by NVIDIA. And NVIDIA is getting up towards the previous high from a couple of weeks ago. What didn't work? Caterpillar pulled back, still on a buy signal. Unfortunately, JP Morgan is back on a sell signal as of Thursday's close. And then we had 3M, so no change in trend for 3M. Moving on to the Canadian market, the iShares for the TSX 60 traded on both sides of the channel yesterday, then finished the day down slightly, just 26 cents. The big winner yesterday, well, we saw money come back into the software sector on Thursday, with the big winner on the TSX 60 being Constellation Software, followed by Shopify, followed by OpenText. So people getting back into software. Nutrien was the big loser, and it is back on a sell signal as of Thursday's close. So is Celestica, so is Sun Life, all three generating sell signals on Thursday. Looking at the Vanguard Canada ETF, it traded above the upper channel line yesterday before closing down on the day. The big winner was B2 Gold, popping, joining the rest of the gold stocks, moving up yesterday. Then we had Maple Leaf Foods, huge move up yesterday for that stock. And then Kinaxis was up on the day. Those were the big winners. What didn't work, Element Financial, which is already on a sell signal, taking out the low from March. Then Sprott had a reversal yesterday, did not close below the previous day's low. And then we had Lithium Americas pulling back yesterday, but having an inside day, so no major move there for that stock. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. So far, it looks like we are going to see a little buying at the open on Friday morning. Have a great day. Next time you'll hear my voice, if you're a member, it's going to be on Sunday. If you're not a member, then we'll meet you back here on Monday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.